Hey guys, welcome back. I always get so excited to do videos, whether they're gonna be super long or not, just because I get to talk to you guys. So welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna be talking about, do I wanna have another baby? I think there's only really three main reasons why I don't wanna have another baby, but also why I'm saying no, there's like these contradicting yeses to those things. And so let's just jump right into it, okay? I have my handy dandy journal, of course, because everything here is literally a piece of my journal entries. So I wrote this April 11th, and the title was literally Another Baby. So reason number one, if you guys know my story, I've had two traumatic pregnancies back to back. Between losing Ava and getting pregnant with Nyla was 2 months. So processing grief, dealing with the new pregnancy, and with the second pregnancy with Nyla, even though we ended up with Nyla and she's healthy and beautiful, awesome, the pregnancy itself was traumatic too, with the shots, the bed rest, the medication, the doctor's visit, the hospital visits, and then the C-section, and then the postpartum eclampsia, and then the postpartum. Like it was just traumatic. Like my body for both pregnancies, it's almost like it saw the child that it was forming as a foreign subject, and it was like, we got to get it out, we got to get it out. And so for my pregnancy, the first pregnancy, it was successful. Second pregnancy, it was still like I had contractions my whole pregnancy because my body was trying to get rid of this baby. Praise the Lord, it didn't because of, well, God, but then I was on medications and the pessary dish and all that stuff. But my body, for some reason, just has a hard time with childbearing. I mean, our bodies don't work like they used to. Like, my body is not Eve's body back in the day. Us women nowadays have such a hard time with childbearing, such a hard time with fertility. Like, we have to pay attention to the things that we drink water out of. Like, it's just so many things, and we just live in this fallen nature. And so it's just not an easy process. My body's just not with it, right? And that's what I experienced, and that's what I went through for the last 2 years or so, since 2021. Like, I've been going through it physically. Like, my body has been going through it, my mind has been going through it. So when I considered those things, when I considered my experience, for me to be like, oh, let's run it back, let's have another baby, it's like, what? Where are we running to? Why would we want to do that again? Like, why? And that is from my personal physical experience. Like, it's just been traumatic. While some people have a great pregnancy, have a great birth, like that was just not my experience. And so I can only go off of what I've experienced. And so that's why I'm like, oh, no. I did the things. I have a child. There's no need to run it back. There's just no need. There's no need. But in contrary, I serve a God. I serve a God. I serve a God who is more than able to allow me to go through a pregnancy with no hiccup, go through a delivery that doesn't leave me traumatized. I serve a God that can do that for me. And so if I ever want another child, I'm not even gonna lie, I would beg God and His mercy, His kindness, His grace, His favor, all of His goodness to allow me to just experience. God, just allow me to experience what it feels like to just have a trauma-free pregnancy, birth that leads to a healthy baby. Like, I would love to know what that feels like. You know what I mean? Because all I know is the heartache, the pain, and the tears, all I know is that. I'm getting emotional. I would love to be able to experience that. And I serve a God that's able to make that happen. I just have to get to a place where I trust Him more than what I've experienced. And that is faith, trusting in a God that you don't see to come through for something that you physically see is going wrong, right? So yeah, I had to get to that place where I trust him more than my experiences. And I believe I can get there. I believe with his help, the work of the Holy Spirit, him teaching and nurturing that spot, like I've been open with him. I'm like, God, listen, if I'm being honest, I have a hard time believing that I could potentially get pregnant and not experience any of the things that I've experienced in the past. And not in my body not wanting to like push this baby out at like 5, 6, 7 months. Like I have a hard time believing that because that's what I went through, you know? I was honest with him, and God can work with that. God can work with your honesty more than he can work with the facade that you put up, okay? And so with me bringing that up to God, I know he's going to be dealing with me when it comes to that. And shoot, I could want another baby next month, or I could want another baby 5 years from now. Either way, I've left it in his hands. Like, I'm just not there yet. I just have not reached a point where my experience no longer has a bearing on my decision to have another child. I just have not reached there yet. And a part of me, if I'm being honest, would love to get there, because sometimes I do get sad. Being the oldest in my side and Jesse being the oldest in his side, I get sad because I'm like, I don't know when she'll have a cousin. I don't know when our siblings will have babies. And I just feel like she's gonna be alone, no cousins, no siblings, you know. But it's just something that the Lord has to work in me with. And so the people that are asking me about baby number 3, like, let's calm that down. Okay, I just feel like if people really went through what I went through, like, I don't think they'd be jumping on the gun to have another child. I mean, maybe they would, but like me personally, I'm just not there. Okay. Point number 2. So, background. I am a child of immigrants. We came here when I was 7. I came here with my brother and my mom, and then a couple months later my dad came. And they were seeking the American dream, and I am super grateful for the fact that I grew up here. I met my husband here, I had a child, I got saved here, I got degrees here. I am super grateful for that sacrifice, and I've told my parents, like, I am grateful for that decision that you guys made. If you grew up in an immigrant household, you know that they work hard. They get jobs that most people wouldn't get because they're immigrants and they don't have a degree that would get them a financially better job. And so my parents worked hard for everything that we had growing up. Hard. And we had I had like family members that would help, you know, raise us spiritually and mentally. But when it came to financially, like, they worked hard. There were no family vacations. There were no, let's go to the museum. There were no, let's go to Disney. Let's take a day off and go to Disney. Let's go to SeaWorld. You know, we didn't go to the Grand Canyons. Like, I haven't gone to any of those places. Oh, backtrack. I've gone through like Disney and stuff like that through like high school. I was in chorus in high school, so cool. But like, we didn't do those things as a family. There is no picture of us in some park creating memories, like nothing. There's none of that. And so I want that for my family. Like, I want that for my family. I want to be able to be like, hey, let's go to the museum. I can afford to take you to the museum. Let's go to Disney. Let's take a family day to Disney. Let's go to SeaWorld. Let's, you know, I want to have family trips with my family. I don't want to feel like I have to choose between the electricity bill and ice cream, or the electricity bill and getting you new clothes for school. Like, I want to be able to afford things for my family more than just the necessities. Like, I want to be able to have some of the wants. Some of the wants would be family vacation, would be, you know, splurging, going to eat. If I want to take a mental day, I can take a mental day without worrying if my lights are gonna go off. I want to save for college for them. I want to save for their first car. I want to save, like, I want to be able to do that for them. And the contrary thought to that is, hello, God is a provider. God is a provider, and God works in miraculous ways, and God can send money your way without you even knowing where it came from. Like, God just works in miraculous ways. That's just the end all be all. And God is a provider. God sees me, he sees my husband, he sees my child. Heck, he loves my child more than I love my child. And so I believe that God will provide for us if we have more kids. I really do believe that. And so that is the thought in opposition to me being like, I want to financially raise these kids, right? So anyway, so that's number 2. Reason number 3 is my postpartum era. I learned a lot in my postpartum era, but it was also depressing. It was just depressing. So much so that I feel like at some points I was scared of my own thoughts with my child, with my marriage. Like, I just don't want to go there. Like, I don't mentally want to go back to that space. And before it was just me and Nyla, but now it would be, or if I have a child, it would be me, Nyla, and this other human being. And they're humans. They're not just cute little dolls that you play with and they're just so cute. No, like, I had to emotionally raise these kids correctly. I want kids that are emotionally intelligent. And that comes from me being in an emotionally stable space. Like, I'm required to be emotionally smart and emotionally capable to teach my kids how to deal with their emotions and how to deal with their spiritual life. Like, I feel like people don't realize sometimes the importance or the weight that you carry as a parent. Like, you're teaching these kids how to regulate their emotions, not just how to eat, live, and be, how to, the lens in which they see God, the lens in which they see people. And these are things that you can do when you yourself have an understanding of Christ and God, and you have an understanding of your emotions. And so for me, I want to be mentally okay to raise kids that are okay. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to be doing it by myself, obviously. I have my husband. I have a village. But I'm a big part of their life. I'm their mother. And so, yeah, part of me is afraid to get to a dark place again. But God has given me tools from, my postpartum experience. He has educated me. It was for a season, and I know I have power over my thoughts, and I know what I need to do for me to not stay in that dark thought process, but doesn't change the fact that I'm a little scared of it, Ultimately, I'm gonna read you guys a verse in the NLT, of course. God, love me some NLT. It is Proverbs 16 verse 9, and it says, "We can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps." Ultimately, God is the author of my life, and I can make the plan to have a kid next year. Or I can make a plan to have a kid 6 years from now. And God could be like, psych, you having a baby 5 months from now. Pregnancy is one of those things, it's a supernatural act to me. Like, in my mind, pregnancy is supernatural because, wow, just everything that goes into it. There's a human being being formed in your stomach. Like, what? And then you push that baby out. Like, it's a miracle to me. And I can't make miracles happen. I can't. I serve a God who makes miracles, who does miracles. I'm gonna do my best to plan when I want to have another child, and I'll do the work to get to the place where I feel like I'm ready. But ultimately, it's something that is completely in God's hands, and I'm just gonna trust His timing, because God's timing is perfect. I've learned it to be so. His timing is so perfect. Even when you're in the midst of you waiting for the thing that you're praying for, and you don't understand why it's not here yet, and you don't comprehend it, God is saving you from something. God is saving you from something. He's trying to teach you something. He's trying to prepare you for that something. Because honestly, sometimes the things that we're praying for, if God gives them to us in the moments that we ask Him, it could literally crush us. Sometimes we might not even be mentally prepared for the weight of what we're praying for. And so we're like praying and we're upset and we're like, God, you haven't given it to me. But God is looking at your situation, your story, because He's writing it. And He's saying, baby girl, homie, dude, if I give you this thing, it will crush you. It'll crush you spiritually. It'll crush you mentally. It'll crush your friendships. It'll crush your relationships. God truly cares about you. And being the person that has experienced everything that I've experienced in the last couple of years, I have learned that God's timing is so perfect. It's so perfect. And it's so personal to your story. God cares about your story. He knows about the details of your life. I think sometimes in the faith we can get very, well, God is doing this for everybody else but me. But He sees you. He knows your story. And we have to come to a place where we believe that God cares about our story. And that if something hasn't come to pass, there's a reason. And whatever that reason is, I trust that is for my good. But anyways, those are the reasons why, I go back and forth with wanting a baby, not wanting a baby. But ultimately, my story, my life is in God's hands. So I guess just keep y'all updated. I'll keep y'all updated. If my mind ever fully changes, if I'm ever one way or the other. But until next time, thanks for watching. I love you guys so much. Mwah.